Apple may be taking the HomePod in a completely different direction that a lot of people were not really anticipating. Let's begin. So obviously, they just discontinued the original HomePod. So Tim Cook is thinking to himself each and every day, how do we sell another Apple device for $350? They knew they couldn't get away with just having Siri in a smart speaker because Siri's kind of stupid sometimes, but they got away with the HomePod Mini, right? That seems to be selling pretty well at $100. It's the sweet spot for premium sound quality with smart device that you can talk to. Siri covers the basics. And since they've seemed to had success when they just directly do what the rest of the smart speaker market is doing, which is make more affordable, smaller smart speakers. Now they're looking at how Amazon is doing with the Echo Show and how Google is doing with the Nest Hub Max, and realizing that perhaps adding a display and making this the little perfect kitchen-side speaker that's going to be able to play YouTube videos or perhaps hold FaceTime calls. Heck, why not even throw iMessage on there or let you watch your favorite Apple TV Plus originals and give it Apple Pencil support while you're at it? Yeah, it sounds kind of like an iPad, doesn't it? And that's pretty much the most common response I've seen from the internet on all of these concepts, which it's funny, 9to5Mac actually had someone named Parker come up with a HomePod TV concept that I must say does look very Apple-esque, to just kind of put an iPad on a stand and say, there we go, we've got like a little dedicated HomePod setup that people can use. But at the end of the day, it does feel very redundant knowing that you could just get a HomePod Mini and, you know, a fairly affordable iPad, and now you can leave your iPad in the kitchen if you want to, but also take it with you instead of making a stationary product that can't move very easily, which doesn't sound like it would be very applicable. But personally, finding out from Bloomberg that Apple is at least exploring the idea of developing a HomePod with a display, it makes me somewhat curious to how Apple would market it. Like, I think if they made like a $500 little TV stand that had HomePod like sound quality coming out of it, that probably would not sell very well and it would end up discontinued just like the original HomePod within a few years. But if they could get the price right, I think the sweet spot is somewhere around $200. Knowing Apple, that probably means they're going to make it $300. But if you don't have to make it a mobile device and you don't have to pack a battery on the inside, there's a chance they could make a fairly high quality display that people might see themselves buying and setting up in the kitchen or the bedroom and using it as like a very advanced nightstand with their alarm clock. And they can of course play music off of that, and it would sound much better than just your standard iPad. There might be a category for this, and it would absolutely be great for controlling different HomeKit devices. So this could be your perfect little hub to control all of your smart bulbs and to control your smart outlets and your safety locks and Apple HomeKit equipped security cameras and that type of thing. I believe there is a little bit of a market for it. I'm not saying this would be a smash hit product. I don't think it would outsell anybody else's, but knowing how strong Apple's ecosystem currently is and how they like to strengthen it with more accessories, especially the HomePod, because they're still pretty much limiting it to Apple Music and a few other services that barely anybody utilizes, but definitely not Spotify. That makes me wonder if Apple were to sell somewhat of an affordable little HomePod TV that could once again act as another crucial point within the ecosystem that makes people so hard to leave, because this thing would likely only support FaceTime calls. It might run some heavily modified version of tvOS, which the HomePod kind of already is, if you've been paying attention to their source code and that type of thing. So this could have a few advantages over a standard Apple TV because it's still got a microphone and a camera, whereas FaceTime calls isn't exactly something you can do on an Apple TV, but it could be a lot more affordable than just a standard iPad, because if it starts costing more than the budget iPad at $329, then I think you'll start to be able to make the argument of just get a regular iPad, because you can take that wherever you want and get a HomePod Mini and just connect it to those two. But Apple likes to figure out what's going to kill their present day products, and I think as long as you're developing something that can provide the perks of both without too many compromises, there's a good chance of Apple entering that market. So I'm not going to say expect it later this year, but I'm very curious, especially with the concept 9to5Mac put out there. You know, the only way to get that bezel-less look on an iPad is when you buy an iPad Pro, which is north of $800 now. So if there was a way to get that type of iPad looking display UI that you could just set up somewhere and use to cover your basic tasks and still be able to iMessage and still be able to watch movies, listen to music, control HomeKit, watch YouTube videos, allow some third-party support, but not too much. I could actually see quite a few people buying that. So what do you guys think? Is this a product category that Apple should be interested in, or do you think it's unnecessary, way too redundant? I honestly could understand either way, but feel free to let me know. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you guys in the next one.